This video is sponsored by and available on ProtoPlay, an alternative video hosting platform focusing on creative freedom for both content creators and viewers alike. Check it out with the link in the description below, or feel free to grab the app found on Apple and Android devices. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to our latest episode of Kombat Tips. Today's episode is going to be featuring the water-bending Prince of Edenia, Rain. Naturally, if there's any particular piece of information you've come here to learn today, feel free to hop on down to either the timeline, the description, or the comments, where you can find timestamps that will let you skip to anything I feature in today's video. And of course, if there's any inputs I say in today's video that don't entirely make sense because of your own personal counsel, feel free to use this little guide right here that will allow you to convert anything I say onto any platform currently hosting Mortal Kombat 11. So here we go, folks, hopping right into the customization screen, and that is to show you that as of this video's release date, I have all 25 out of 25 finishers, which means today's video is going to be featuring 11 different brutalities. We, of course, are going to be starting off with the Classic today, but again, if there's anything in particular you've come here to learn, hop on down below to the timestamps, and that should get you where you gotta go. That being said, let's get started. So the Classic is a move as traditional as its name suggests. Let's talk about it. So first off, you want to make sure that if you're going to go for this brutality, you do not block an attack during the final round. And to clarify, the final round is going to be the round that you as a player are going to be victorious on. So that can be round 2 or 3, just whichever one you as a player are going to win on. Next up, you want to make sure that you finish your opponent with an uppercut, which is going to be down Y or down triangle, and while you're doing that, you want to make sure to hold either Y or triangle on your respective controller. Let's give you an example right now. So again, down Y, down triangle for our uppercut, and as you can see, boom, there it is. So here we go, folks. As you can see up top, this is my final round, round 2 personally. And again, if you happen to hit the block button, so long as you don't take damage, it's quite all right. Just make sure you don't take damage on your personal final round. And last but certainly not least, finish your opponent with an uppercut, down Y or down triangle, and make sure to hold either Y or triangle on your respective controller. Let's go for it. 1, 2, 3. Pop. There we have it, folks. The Classic. Not much more I can say that I haven't said in past videos. Let's move on. Next up, folks, we have the Royal Execution brutality, and this one's going to require simply that you finish your opponent with a towards throw, and while that animation's playing out, make sure to hold down. Let's give you an example right now. So a throw, by default, you can just tap L1 or left button, and as you can see, boom, we got a throw. But of course, in this case, that is a back throw. So if we want to get a towards throw, we instead want to be moving towards the opponent, and again, push L1 or left button, and as you can see, boom, that is our towards throw animation. As I've said in the past, if you prefer arcade inputs such as square and X or X and A on your respective controllers, you can boom, just tap them like that, and as you can see, you will still get a throw, and again, just move towards your opponent while pushing those inputs, and again, you will get a towards throw. So let's finish this, folks. Remember, just use a towards throw and hold down during that animation. Let's go for it. Boom, holding down. Oh, pop. Oh. I love the animation on that, the unique use of that weapon, the way he doesn't just jam it in, but then he opens it up in the mouth to kind of get that halfway decapitation. Oof. Very, very messy, very messy. On to the next one. So next up is the Fountain of Life brutality. And much like the last brutality that we just did, this one also will require that you finish your opponent with a towards throw. However, in this case, instead of down, we're going to be holding up. Let's give you an example. So again, folks, super straightforward. A towards throw, just walk towards the opponent and tap L1 or left button. Boom, there it is. Again, you can also use the arcade inputs, X and A or square and X, and boom, there it is, folks. Time to squash this bug, folks. Remember, you want to use a towards throw and just hold up this time. Let's go for it. Holding up. This one I really like because, again, it takes his abilities and uses them in some unique individual way to finish the opponent, and this one is just I don't I don't want to say it's cute, but it's fun. It's playful in a weird way. If it, as playful as a, a murder can be. But I don't know. I think it's a well done animation. So on to the next one. Next up, folks, we have the Liquefied Brutality, and this one's going to simply require that you finish your opponent with a back throw, and while that animation is happening, hold down. Super easy. Let me give you an example, though. Third brutality in a row that we're talking about throws. Easy enough, though, again, folks. L1, left button, but in this case, you don't have to push any direction at all, because a back throw, by default, boom, if you just push the button, will always be a back throw. Same goes for the arcade-style inputs, X and A or square and X. Boom. As you can see, no directions needed. It'll always be a back throw. So let's end this round, folks. Remember, all you gotta do is finish your opponent with a back throw, and while that animation is happening, hold down. It's worth noting with this particular brutality, you'll definitely want to hold down very, very quick, as this animation starts just as quick. So just make sure you hold down as rapidly as you can with this brutality. Otherwise, the animation just might not work. Let's go for it. Back throw and holding down. That is one rough wave. And again, I love the way they take, Rain's unique aquatic animations and apply them in his brutalities. So it's just a nice way to see how they can showcase different, unique individuality with each character. Big fan of it. So next up, we have the Just Kickin' It brutality. Now this one's going to require that you finish your opponent with an amplified geyser kick, and while that's happening, you're going to want to hold backwards. Alright, so let's give you an example right now. So our default geyser kick should be back forward B or back forward circle, and it should look, boom, just like that. Now, of course, we're going to want to be using the amplified version of this ability, so that's going to be R1 or right button after back forward circle or back forward B, and that should look, boom. Just like that, our opponent will fly to the other side. Let's put an end to this, folks. Remember, you just want to finish your opponent with that amplified geyser kick, and while that animation's happening, hold backwards. Let's go for it. Oh. Oof, 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 ooh. I'm definitely a fan of this animation. I feel like it's probably a good nod to some of the classic moves from older introductions of Rain in previous games. I don't know. Let me know what you think down below, but this is definitely one of the cooler ones, I feel, in terms of classic nods. Next up, we have the Around the World brutality. Now this one's going to require that you finish your opponent with the Prince of Pain combo, and while that animation's playing out, you're going to want to hold down. Alright, so let me give you an example right now. So for the first half of this combo, you're going to want to use forward Y, X and A at the same time, or forward triangle, square and X at the same time, and you should get boom and boom. That animation right there. Once you have that down, you can move on to the full combo, which is going to be forward Y, X and A at the same time, and then B, or forward triangle, square and X at the same time, and then circle. And as you can see, it should look a little something, boom, like that. That kick at the end is the extra animation we're looking for to get the full Prince of Pain combo. So here we go, folks. Remember, all you got to do is finish your opponent off with that Prince of Pain combo, and while that animation's playing out, hold down. Let's go for it. Boom. And boom. So this is a nice kind of variation of the last one we just did, where we kicked the body around with that one, but in this case we just kind of kicked the head to the other side of the screen. But it also comes back and plops on back in a, kind of lopsided direction. So I don't know, I like the creativity in that. Again, it's a nice classic nod to the Rain kicks that he just is kind of known for, I believe. And what else can I say? It looks good. He's got some nice unique animations. So next up is the Heartless brutality. This one's going to require that you perform the Insatiable Prince combo on your opponent, and while that's happening, hold backwards. Alright, let's give you an example. So this combo has two parts you're going to want to master. The first half is going to be the Deadly Tsunami, and that is going to be Y, B, Y, or triangle, circle, triangle, and it should look pop, just like that. Now for the second half of this combo, all you're going to want to do is add on X and A at the same time, or square and X at the same time, depending, of course, on your respective controller. And that should look like this: Y, B, Y, X and A. Boom. You got that extra stab to the chest, and that's what we're looking for. Alternatively, if you feel more comfortable, you can use L1 or left button in the place of X and A or square and X. And as you can see, boom, 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 it still will work just the same. The difference is just that you don't have to push these two buttons at the same time. And if you don't feel comfortable doing that, say maybe you don't know if you're going to always hit them simultaneously, L1 or left button could be a good alternative for you. Alright folks, time to put yet another opponent to an end. Remember, all you gotta do is finish them off with the Insatiable Prince combo, and while that animation's playing out, hold backwards. Let's go for it. Holding back. Oh. And there we go. Hey, what can I say? This one's not too crazy, but it is brutal and right to the point, so if you're looking to maybe collect some hearts, this is definitely the quickest way to do it. Next, we have the Bubbling Up Brutality, and this will require that you have the Water Ball ability in your arsenal, so of course, do make sure you've got that, then we can move on. Once you're set up, all you gotta worry about is finishing your opponent with an amplified Water Ball, and while that animation's playing out, you're gonna wanna hold down, alright? Let's give you an example right now. So our Water Ball is gonna be back forward Y or back forward triangle, and it should look splash, just like that. Of course, we want the amplified version of this ability, so after back forward Y or back forward triangle, make sure you push R1 or right button to amplify this ability, and it should look boom. Just like that, you'll capture your opponent in a bubble. Some may find it worth noting that depending on the direction you push after you've hit your opponent with that amplified water ball, you can kind of manipulate where they go on screen. So we'll push up in this case. As you can see, rises them up in the sky, or maybe you want to push them further away, again, to the right, and they get up a little bit further away. Kinda irrelevant if you ask me though, because we're trying to kill our opponent with the initial impact, but I figured I'd show you guys this anyways for those of you who maybe didn't know about it or didn't use it as much. Could help you manipulate the flow of combat to get a different brutality off. Alright folks, let's put our opponent to rest yet again. Remember, all you gotta use is the amplified water ball, and while that animation's playing out, hold down. Let's go for it. Holding down. Oh! Oh man, I'm a big fan of that one as well. Just kind of the unique ability of taking them and splashing them on the screen into nothing. I like it. And it's actually very clean compared to a lot of brutalities, but I guess that kind of makes sense because they were literally liquefied into nothing at that point, so washed away for good. Next up is the Edenian Rage Brutality. Now this one is going to require that you finish off your opponent with the amplified Argus Plunge, and while that animation's playing out, they suggest you push down at least 3 times, but if you ask me, just spam down. It's the best way to guarantee you get brutalities like this. On to our example. So for starters, the basic Argus Plunge is going to be back forward A or back forward X, and it's going to look boom, just like that. Very cool move if you ask me. Now, of course, like with any amplified move, we're going to want to push R1 or right button after we've done back forward A or back forward X, and as you can see, boom, boom. Amplifying that ability is going to take your opponent up in the air and right back down violently into the ground. Let's move in for the final strike here, folks. Remember, all you got to do is the amplified Argus Plunge and then push down at least 3 times during that animation, though if you ask me, just spam down. It's the best way to guarantee ones like this work. Let's go for it. Amplified Argus Plunge, spamming down right now. Spamming down. Oh. I mean, what else did we expect with a smash like that, huh? I mean, if anything, I guess the only thing they could have done different is, you know, he goes up, gets in his chair, and then they come back down. I think that'd be a cool, like, alternate variation ending to that, if that doesn't already somehow exist, but this way is just as cool, being able to take the opponent up in the sky and right back down for quite a slam. Very cool. On to the next one. Next up, we have the Deadly Storm Brutality, and it will require that you have the Purple Pain ability in your arsenal and ready to go. So, of course, have that set up, and you shouldn't have a problem. As for the actual criteria, all you gotta do is finish your opponent with the Purple Pain ability, and while that animation's playing out, make sure to hold down. Let's go for it. Now, for the Purple Pain, we're gonna want to do down back Y or down back triangle, and as you can see, boom, and boom. Now the default Purple Pain is always going to give you a medium distance cloud, but if you push left or right after you've done down back Y or down back triangle, as you can see, we'll do left here, and that is closer, and we'll do right here, and pop. That is further, and a great way to hit opponents when they're out of range, or if you're just trying to generally manipulate the battlefield. Alright folks, remember, all you gotta do is finish off your opponent with the Purple Pain ability, and hold down during that animation. Let's go for it. Oh. Absolutely cooked. And what I like about the animation is if you look, it looks like it went just straight down the center of the body and kept, you know, the arms and the legs. Kind of unique, maybe. I don't know. I don't think I've seen it, that type of particular manipulation as much, but what do I know? On to our next brutality. So next up is the clean cut brutality, folks, and this one will require that you have both the quantum slice and the Edenian force abilities on your variation, so please do make sure both of those are set up before we continue. Once all that's good to go, all you gotta do is finish off your opponent with an aerial diving quantum slice and hold down during that animation. Let's hop into our example. So the default quantum slice is gonna be back forward A or back forward X, and as you can see, boom. Big fan of this move personally. Now by adding Edenian force to our arsenal, we can actually use back forward A or back forward X in the air, and as you can see, boom, we can now dash through the sky. Now we of course want the diving quantum slice, which means after we have pushed back forward A or back forward X in the air, you're also going to want to push down, and it should look just like that. So here we go, folks. Remember, you just want to finish off your opponent with that diving quantum slice, and while that is happening, hold down, which you pretty much have to do anyways to get the move to work, so just don't even take your finger off the down direction. Let's go for it. Straight and quick to the point. I mean, it's not my favorite animation in terms of, you know, finished opponents, but because of how much I use the quantum slices just on the ground and in the air, and how fluid they are and how great they are at letting you kind of move throughout the battlefield, I am a pretty big fan of this one, even if it's just as simple as it is. But that all said, let's move on to our closing words for today, folks. So that's going to do it, of course, for the Rain tutorial today. As far as my input on the character, I actually did not like him very much when he first came out, to be honest. Not him as a character, but just his play styles never really fit for me until I started to go make this video and kind of played around with getting my own variations that I liked. And I think that's probably one of the best parts of Mortal Kombat 11, is being able to kind of manipulate how every character plays. And what can I say? He ended up being definitely one of my more preferred characters. I really just love his grace and flow. A big reason why I like Fujin, to be honest, is just that whole manipulation of such serene and beautiful elements, I guess, and being able to do that in such a deadly and graceful fashion. I got a soft spot for characters like that. As mentioned at the start of this tutorial, folks, this video is sponsored by ProtoPlay, so a big thanks to them. Feel free to check out my channel over on their website, as it's a big service to both me and them alike, and really it doesn't cost anything but just a little bit of your time. Thanks very much. If you guys enjoyed this video, feel free to leave me feedback down below, either in the form of a like or a comment. Both are very much appreciated. And if you happen to be new to the channel, feel free to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can find out exactly when new content like this is going to go live. That's going to wrap it up for today, folks. I kid you not, there was an actual rainstorm starting outside of my house right now, so I mean, that's kind of coincidental given the fact that we just finished up the Rain tutorial, so I'll show you some footage of that in a moment after I get away from the green screen area. But that all said, thank you guys so much for checking out the video today. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully we'll catch you on the next tutorial, and until then, as always, please stay safe and stay happy. Adios, everybody. Storm's here. Rain showing his love for that new tutorial.